Hi there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, bringing you this week's belated Tune In and Tune Up Thursday, also known as Tune In and Tune Up Friday. Thank you always so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you in this way. And I'm so grateful that you've taken the time out of your busy day and have joined me on a Friday. So, just a couple of really quick things. One, if you're going to be asking a question this evening, please ask a specific question. I had a couple of people on last week just asking if there was a message for them or if I could pull a card for them. That's not how I do my readings. So, please ask a specific question. If you're early on in the comments, I'll ask you to, maybe ask a question and I'll try to get to you. So I did have a couple of people on last week where that was the case. So please ask a specific question. If you are asking a question and you want me to use a certain deck, please mention it with the question. So the card decks you have the choice of this week are the green, which is the messages from your angels oracle card deck. We have the yellow card deck, which is the archangel oracle card deck. And we have the blue card deck, which is the mermaids and dolphins. Also, just a continuation on a couple of things that I've had happening recently on my streams. So I've had people coming on typically after I finished, commenting on people's comments, offering them free readings if they inbox them or if they friend request them. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. These people have nothing to do with me. I don't work with anybody else, and if I am doing a joint collaborative thing like the way that I have done with Sandy, I'll talk about that in a moment, then you'll know about it because I'm posting about it. I'm probably doing some video stuff. So don't accept any friend requests from me because I don't have other profiles. I don't send people private messages. I don't use Facebook Messenger at all. If you want to get in touch with me, please email me. If you want to book a reading with me, I'd love to connect with you. Just hop over to my website, bookingwitherin.com. So lots of ways to get in touch. And I will never, ever ask you to send me money for a reading unless you're booking for a reading, in which case, send money, but but I'm not going to send you a private message. So if you do receive, if you comment on tonight's stream and somebody messages you, just know that they have nothing to do with me, and it's probably kind of scammy. So I haven't figured out a way to fix that problem, but it'll happen. So I see that we've got some people popping on this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure connecting. I was going to pull a couple of cards for tonight just to see what energies are coming up for us. I found that particularly with Mercury in retrograde right now, needing to be really careful and aware and precise in communication. That's always true during Mercury retrograde. Mercury is the planet that governs communication. So when it's in retrograde, that's often at the forefront. But it's also been an invitation to slow down and to do the things that you need to best support yourself, which is part of the reason that we're connecting tonight rather than last night. So I've got the Archangel Oracle cards here. And as I've been shuffling and we've been talking, oops, I've had some fallout. Hold on. Oh, that was a really big jumper. That's on the other side of the room now. And I can just see knocking everything over trying to get it. So I'll post that card later this evening once I fished it out. So the other cards that we had falling out for us this evening, first of all, we've got the Prosperity card. This is Archangel Ariel. Her message is, your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. So when this card comes up, it's usually an indication that we're worried about money and finances or material things or having all of the resources that we need in order to work on or to move through whatever we're working on. And when Archangel Ariel comes in like this, she's saying, hey, you know what? Don't worry. God, source, universe, whatever your belief system is, we hear you. We're watching out for you, and we're helping you to find the resources that you need to manifest your dreams, to create that reality for yourself. So take a look and see. Keep your eyes open. Often these will come through in ways that are unexpected, and in unexpected ways. So keep your eyes open. The next card that we have here I love is Archangel Raguel. It's the Divine Order card. The message specifically is everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order. This card comes up so often when things are feeling really chaotic, when maybe it's one thing after the next, and you're like, what is going on here? It can also be an indication that you're on the right path. So keep moving forward in the direction that you're going. But if life is feeling chaotic, know that part of the reason things have been jumbled up is because it needs to be completely reorganized. And so it's truly like organizing a space. You need to pull everything out first to see exactly what you have, exactly what you're dealing with, and then you can pick and choose what goes back and where it goes. And so the process of decluttering actually becomes much more cluttered before you're finished. And that's part of what the Divine Order card here is talking about, is things might feel messy right now, but that's so that they can become organized again. And this was actually the first card that fell out, but it's the last card we're reading. And it's the Overcoming Difficulties card. And this is always brings such a feeling of peace and relief. This is Archangel Jeremiel, and his message is, the worst is now behind you and you're surmounting any previous challenges. So to me, this card always indicates that we're coming to the end of a challenging period or a challenging time, or there's something that's starting to ease. There's something that is resolving in our lives and in our worlds, and it starts to indicate that the next steps are going to be easier. So sometimes if we've been dealing with challenge for a long time, it can be really easy to get into the mindset that nothing ever changes, or it's always going to be this way. Or when things start to ease, it's kind of like, okay, well, when's the other shoe going to drop? When this card comes up, it's really asking you, it's encouraging you to breathe and to have faith in what is happening, in the ease that is presenting itself. Because if you are a doubting Debbie for too much and too long, then you can change the circumstances that you're in from ones that are heading in a positive direction into ones that are creating more challenge. So make sure that you're aware of your thoughts, and if positive things, or as positive things are starting to happen, that you embrace those and you express gratitude and don't look for the other shoe to drop. I mean, obviously be aware, but embrace the positive. All right, so let's check in with everybody and see what we've got going on this evening. So again, really quickly, I'll mention it here. If you're asking a question and you want me to use a particular deck, please mention it with the question. The green deck is the messages from your angels. The yellow deck is the Archangel Oracle card deck. That's the one we just used. And the blue deck is the Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle card deck. Also, please ask a specific question. If you're asking just for a card or for any messages, that's not how I do readings. So I need something that's specific. Awesome. All right. We've got some hearts from Harjeet. Hi, Harjeet and Carrie and Brianna, Tracy, Kai, Ange, BJ, Margaret, Chantelle, Namrata, Janice, Elizabeth, Carrie, Tammy, Pamela, Amy, Leslie, Victoria. It is so good to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, especially since we're out of the usual Thursday night routine. Okay, so hearts back to Harjeet, and Carrie saying, yay, she made it. I'm so glad you made it too. Oh, and Harjeet sending lots of love. I love you too. It's been so long. All right, so we've got Brianna here. Hi, Brianna. Thanks for joining us. She wants to know why her ex-boyfriend is connected to her. Okay, so let's just take a look. So part of what I'm seeing is actually the need to do some cord cutting. It feels like there's something that he is getting from you, from the relationship, from the connection. And it feels to me like this is something that is not in your best and highest good. It's not feeling like it's in your best interest. And it feels like this is a pattern that has maybe cycled through a couple of times as well. The sense that I have is that it's time to bring a conclusion for both of you to the relationship, because as I said, it's not feeling like it's something that's serving you. And it doesn't feel like it's anything that's serving him either. It's almost like being caught in a little bit of a loop that you haven't been able to stop. When I ask a little bit more about the relationship, it does feel like there is a soulmate aspect to this relationship, but I want to explain how soulmates work to me. So soulmates are people who we've made contracts or connections with before we came onto the earth, where our souls decided that we were going to come together to meet together, that we were going to teach and learn lessons with and from each other. And then, sometimes soulmates will come in the form of romantic partnerships and relationships, and sometimes there'll be lifetime romantic partnerships and relationships. Other times there'll be relationships that don't work out for whatever reason. They can be family and friend relationships. So for me, soulmate relationships encompass much more than just our romantic partnerships. And so when I look at this relationship, it does feel like it is a soulmate relationship from the perspective that you guys agreed that you were going to come to the earth to teach and learn something from each other. It feels to me like a lot of the learning has been done with this, and I'm seeing, as I said, a bit of a separation. Let's take a look and see what message we have coming up here. I've only usually been pulling one card for people, but Brianna, I feel like we need to pull two. So I'm pulling one from the messages from your angels, and we've got one here that we're pulling from the archangels. Okay, so the Archangel Oracle card deck is the one I'm going to first. And the card specifically is Take Back Your Power. This is Archangel Raziel. He says, use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings in your life. But for me, this really feels like this is the take back your power message, that there's a lot that has been given away in the relationship and the situation, and I'm seeing you really reclaiming that. And so energetically, it feels like you're pulling your energy back into you and reintegrating. Often when we care about somebody and we love somebody, we give kind of a little piece of our energy to them, possibly pieces of our soul as well. In particularly traumatic relationships, there are more pieces. So part of what I'm seeing is you're calling back all of that energy. And the card that we have from the messages from your angels is the Omega card. Victory, your desire is coming to fruition. Keep up the good work. So when this card comes up, it's really confirmation of the actions and the steps you're already taking, confirmation of the intuition that you're feeling, and just really encouraging you in forward movement. Brianna, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Thanks for popping on. All right, we've got Tracy here. Hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining me. Do you see me moving to a 3-bedroom apartment to accommodate my business soon? And she says, any deck. Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got going on. It's really interesting because I'm actually seeing March, which is feeling very quick. So, I mean, it feels to me like there's a move potentially that's happening in March, but again, that's feeling really quick. We're already the beginning part of February, so only a couple of weeks for that to come together. So the answer to that I'm seeing is yes. As I said, March is coming up really strongly. It feels like it's a move, but I want to expand that and say that this could also be the time frame where you are making the choice and the decision to make a move, when finances come together to make a move, or when you find the place that you're going to move to. So March is coming up as being incredibly significant, and it feels like this is really helping to move things along, not only in your business, but there's something else that's feeling kind of stagnant in the home or the space that you're in at the moment. And this feels like it's just opening things up, either something on a financial level or a time level or a space level, but there's something really positive that's opening up for you. So when I ask what you need to know, I went to the mermaids and dolphins, and we have the alchemy card, and I love the energy of this card. So you have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So alchemy, back in the believe it was the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages. It was a long time ago. People were trying to take common metals and turn it into gold. And that was what they called alchemy, was to take something that didn't have value and to turn it into something that does have value. So when this card comes up, it's basically saying that whatever it is that you're working on, whatever you're putting your energy and your intention into, is something that's going to come around and be profitable or prosperous or abundant. It's transforming into something better than it was before. With that, the process of alchemy always seemed a little miraculous as well. And so, one of the things that I'm aware of as we're talking about this is that March came up as being significant. And there's a part of my mind that's like, well, I mean, March is really quick. How reasonable and realistic is that? But what this card is saying is, don't let yourself be talked down by that ego, because that's where this is coming from for me. And instead, allow yourself to come into a place where miracles can happen, where synchronistic flow is a possibility. You just happen to talk to the right person, and it opens another door and another door. And the next thing you know, you are opening the door to your 3-bedroom apartment. And so, Tracy, I've got lots of positive things that are happening. They feel like they're happening sooner rather than later. And I'm wanting to encourage you to be open to the possibility of rapid manifestation. It's such a pleasure connecting with you, Tracy. I'm so glad that you came on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and manifestation energy your way. Thanks for joining me. Awesome. Okay, we've got Harjeet here. Hi, Harjeet. She's wondering about her parents' health. Let's take a look. So when I check in with your mom, immediately the feeling that I have is like I'm being kind of pushed away. Like, no, it's like, don't think about it, don't worry about it. She's pointing my attention in other places, in other ways. I do have the feeling of possibly being a little bit on the cranky side, and I'm wanting to encourage you to make sure that she's eating regularly and properly. I'm seeing possibly either her appetite has changed or something else, but it feels like food is really important for her. Again, that she is eating regularly on a consistent basis, and that she's eating well, and that she's eating enough. So food feels like it's really important for your mom. When I pop over and I check in with your dad, again, he's kind of batting me away too, and he's showing me really being strong in where he is, not wanting to appear vulnerable. It feels like he is concerned about his health, and it feels like there are a couple of things that he's kind of concerned about. I am seeing him being proactive and making sure that he's doing the things that he knows that he needs to support his health and well-being. So for example, if he was having issues with his heart, then I'm seeing him making sure that he's eating a heart-healthy diet. So those types of things where it does feel like he is being proactive, but I am wanting to pay attention to your dad. And making sure that he is maintaining doctor's appointments and any tests and things that he needs to go in for. I mean, both of your parents were kind of pushing me away and kind of giving me this, like, don't worry about me, I'm fine. But it does feel like there are things that they're needing to address, to be aware of. So, connect with them, encourage them from a place of concern. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they're the ones who are responsible for their health and well-being. It feels like they have the resources they need to support themselves. So this becomes more making sure that they're doing it. Let's take a look. I'm going to pull a card for each of your parents. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and I'm just going to ask one for your mom and one for your dad. So dad's popping up first. So we have Archangel Azrael here with the comfort card coming up. His message is, I am with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. So that's really interesting to me, that the example that popped up for me was heart health and heart wellness. So I do want to encourage you to make sure that you talk to your dad about his heart in particular. But again, we've got a lot of angelic support that's coming up around him, and to know that he does have the resources he needs to keep himself himself healthy and well. I'm wanting to encourage him to slow down and also to take as much stress off of his plate as he can. Relaxation, meditation, breathing, all of these things feel like they're really helpful and supportive for him. And seeing himself being able to be healthy and well. And for your mom, the gentleness card came up. This is Archangel Sandalphon. His message is be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. So, again, I would also say for your mom as well, important to keep stress to a minimum. As much as possible, make sure that she's doing the things that she needs to support herself. I'm wanting to encourage her to get out of the house and go for a walk, even if it's just around the block or around the property. It feels like it's important to get out of the house in a way that's safe. Harjeet, it's always so good connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and hugs, and support to your parents as well. Thanks for joining me. All right, we've got Carrie here. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining me. Carrie's wondering when Kalia gets back to, she wants to know when Kalia gets back to normal health. Okay, so when I ask about that, I'm seeing dancing with fancy footwork. And that indicates to me that there are a couple of things, kind of like some hurdles that she's going to need to go through, or a little bit of an obstacle course. So it's not a straightforward path. There are a couple of things that are needing to be adjusted along the way in order for her to come into her ideal health and well-being. But the positive thing is once she comes into this place, it feels like it's a matter of balancing as opposed to fixing, and that feels positive. So 9 is coming up as being significant for me. This doesn't feel like this is a month. I'm wondering if this is an age. But the other aspect that I have coming up is I'm seeing a 2.5 to 3 year window. But that, along that path and along that way, it does feel like there are times where there's kind of a bit of peace. So, for example, the hurdles that we go through or that we go over, there's a hurdle and then there's a plane of peace. And then there's another hurdle and then some peace. So it doesn't feel like it's in a place where there's a constant like, but where there are times of peace where adjustment is happening. Let's see, we're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck. I'm just going to ask, what does Carrie need to know about her daughter Kalia's health and well-being moving forward now? So the card that we have is leadership, and this is Archangel Gabrielle. Her message is, it is time to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. So this is interesting for me because this card can apply to both you and Kalia. So when it comes to Kalia, it feels like it's part of the encouragement is to empower her to start making some health choices and decisions for herself, for her own well-being. If this were in a different context, like her becoming more comfortable with herself, one of the things that I would say was, well, make sure that she is the one who's choosing the clothes that she wears. Or when it comes to food, maybe giving her a couple of choices so that she can make the choice about what it is that she's wanting to do. So basically, I'm wanting to empower her because right now it feels like she's passive in her health and healing process. So empower her, encourage her to start looking at the things that she can be proactive in. This doesn't feel like this is going to adjust things on a big level, but it feels like it's going to shift her mindset to allow her to start feeling like she has a bit of control over how she's feeling and what she's doing. And Carrie, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm so grateful that you popped on this evening. Oh, hold on a second. I said 2. It could be for you and for her. I need to talk about how Archangel Gabrielle is coming through for you. So Archangel Gabrielle, from the leadership point of view, is encouraging you to make sure that you're as effectively as possible, expressing the concerns that you have to the healthcare professionals who are helping and supporting you guys. Also, Archangel Gabrielle is the angel of communication. And so making sure that you guys are doing things like writing out affirmations possibly, or creative writing even. So creating stories together and like not focusing so much on what's happening with health, but focusing more on enjoyment of life. Again, Carrie, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to Kalia. May her health come together very quickly. All right. I forgot that I could put the question up on here so people can see who I'm talking to. The other thing I was going to mention was we're currently streaming to 3 different locations. So a comment that somebody made last time is, I'm not seeing where all of these questions are coming from. This is streaming to my Facebook business page, the Heavenly Messenger page, to my personal Facebook profile, and also to YouTube. So that could be part of the reason you're not seeing all of the questions. All right, we've got Ange here. Hi, Ange. Thanks for joining me. She says, just wondering if you still see any future, i.e. moving, marriage, etc., stuff with my man and I. And she's asking for the pink deck. I don't have the pink deck tonight, but let me just see what we've got going on. So yeah, when I tap into relationship and connection between you and your partner, I am seeing things moving forward, moving well. There's something significant popping up around April. And I know Ange is here in BC, and just today in BC, we were told that our current no gathering, no travel kind of restrictions are extended indefinitely. And so what I want to say is it feels like there is an opening that's happening. It feels like this is mid-April, possibly into the end of April, but where things are starting to move forward. So at that point, it feels like relationship is connecting at a deeper level, and where you're able to say, yeah, I really see that there is a way for us to continue to move forward together, where we are able to start looking at moving and looking at marriage and basically progressing the relationship. So it does feel like you guys still have a future together. I'm just wanting to encourage you to be as patient as you possibly can be. We do have a lot of time between now and April. So the best thing that you can do is make sure that you're supporting your own health and well-being, and that he's doing the same as well. But I do see things moving together for the two of you. Let's take a look. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask what messages they have for Ange about relationship and partnership, and in particular about a deepening connection, deepening commitment. Aha, we have the yes card. So the message specifically is your intuition is correct. Take action accordingly. Anytime this card comes up, I see it as being confirmation of the question that is being asked. There are two aspects and elements to it. If in your heart of hearts you're like, man, I don't think this is going to work. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like things are happening and coming together. Then that would be the intuition that you have, and this card would be confirmation of that. My intuition, what it's telling me is that the separation, the distance between the two of you, this is feeling as temporary as pandemic can be. and that it feels to me like it's a confirmation that your relationship is going to be moving forward and moving together, and moving in at a time when that's a possibility and available. So as I said, make sure that you're focusing on yourself, maintaining your own health and well-being as much as you can, with the positive expectation of being able to move forward when we're able. And just always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh no. Uh-oh. Well, shoot. It looks like we're frozen. Oh, are we unfrozen? Geez, and I'm so sorry. It looks like I froze kind of partway in there. So I'm hoping you got all of the message, but the overall message and confirmation is, yep, we're moving forward. So keep yourself as positive and hopeful as possible. I'm so glad you joined me. Sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, we've got BJ here. Hi, BJ. Thanks for joining me. BJ says, things have gotten worse for me in my relationship, and I ended up pushing her away because I thought that's what she wanted, and I was wrong. I'm at a dead standstill and don't know what to do. Okay, well, BJ, let's take a look and see what we've got going on for you in your relationship and partnership. So the first thing, it's actually not surprising that you're at like a dead stop or a standstill, because it feels like that's part of where you're needing to be. The sense that I have is that you're needing to come into a place of pause, a place of reflection, and gathering and maintaining yourself and your health and well-being. It feels to me like you are going to be moving towards more within your relationship and your partnership. And it feels like this pause place, and like the pullback was almost necessary and needed in order to move through on a communication level. It's kind of like a control alt delete, where it's like, okay, something's not working, so let's step back for a moment and then figure out what we're going to do and how we can move forward. And that's kind of where I see the two of you being right now. It doesn't feel to me like the relationship is over. It does feel like there is still the opportunity to work things out. And it feels like that's part of how you go back to your partner and say, hey, you know what? I misunderstood, or I misinterpreted the signs or what was happening for you. And I know what I want. And it feels to me like you are wanting to be in this partnership and relationship. And that's something that you can say to her. Say, you know what? I know I want to be with you. It sounds and seems like that's what you're wanting to do too. There was obviously something that wasn't working for us. So let's work on that. Like, let's talk about it. Let's figure out what we can do so that we can start working together and moving forward. So yeah, it doesn't feel like the relationship's at an end, but it does feel like it's really important for you to take a little bit of time to be really clear in what it is that you're wanting and needing, and to come into awareness of what was it that was coming up for you that said, hey, you know, maybe I need to back away, so that can be part of the conversation, the discussion that the two of you have together. We're going to go to the messages from the Angels Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what does BJ need to know about romantic relationships and partnership? How do we move forward with this? Well, now this is really interesting. We haven't talked at all about children in relationship and partnership, but that's the card that we have here. We have the Opal card, and her message is, your children on earth and in heaven are happy and well cared for by God and the angels. I don't know if family and kids are part of the relationship dynamic that you have with your partner right now, or something that you've been talking about or wanting. But the message that we have with this card here is that the children that you have, or that you want to have, or possibly who have passed over, are safe and well and loved and supported and cared for. I want to pull another card though, because I'd like to get a bit more clarity specifically for what's happening for you in the relationship and how we're moving forward. And so the card that we have here is actually the Daniel card, which to me makes a lot more sense with the question that you've asked. I am the angel of marriage, and I am assisting you right now. So, you know, relationship and partnership doesn't necessarily need to go to marriage in particular, if that's not what the two of you are wanting. But when the Daniel card comes up, I mean, he's one of the two cards in this deck that help and support us with romantic partnerships and relationships, with communicating clearly with each other, with being able to clearly understand each other. That's also bringing me into us being in Mercury retrograde right now. Basically, communication is really challenging. It tends to be really easy to misunderstand or misrepresent or mishear. So when it does come time to talk to your partner and to engage her, it's important that you be as clear as possible, and that to remember that communication is only part expressing yourself, but it's also in listening too. And I'm seeing you asking her to be really open and to listen as well as the two of you are talking. But I have a lot of hope for the relationship that you have, and it feels like you're able to move through this and come out on the other side of it even stronger as a couple. BJ, thank you so much for joining me this evening. It was a pleasure connecting with you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and support your way. All right, Margaret saying, hi, Erin. Happy Friday. Hi, Margaret. It's always so good to see you. I'm so grateful that you joined us this evening. And I just caught out of the corner of my eye the live there. We were at that moment just at 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Multiple threes mean the Ascended Masters are with you, helping and supporting you. So everybody on the call tonight, know that you have help and that it's okay to ask for help too. So I'm sending hugs to Harjeet. Let me see. And Chantelle, if you want to ask a specific question, I would so love to pull some cards for you and to ask. We do specific questions that I can dig into. All right. Oh, Namrata, it's so good to see you too. I'm so glad that you joined me this evening. Okay, we've got Janice here. Hi, Janice. Thanks for joining me. And Janice is asking, do you see me heading out as planned in June? And for me, this feels like this is a career-related question. Do we see you making shift and move in career in June? And actually, the feeling that I have is yes, I'm seeing things really starting to ramp up as we start to move into April, May, and I want to say April, May, and June. So it's possible you're not making the move in June itself, but there's something that is happening that is around career that is instigating a move. And so I want to say June/July, but I do see that there are some shifts and changes that are happening on a career level that are feeling really positive, that are feeling like they're allowing you to kind of spread your wings and try other opportunities. It feels like there's possibly something that you're doing that's different from the current job and position that you have right now. So potentially there's a bit of training either that you're going through now or that you're going to be going through in the not so distant future, but it does feel like there is definitely opportunity. And I've got romantic partnership that's coming up, not at that time, but it feels like it has to do with the move that you're making. Take a look, we're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Janice need to know about work, career, and move? All right. Interesting. So the card we have here is the Father Healing card. Your personal power increases as you give any father-related issues to heaven. So usually when this card comes up, it has a lot to do with, I know, not only with the healing relationship that you may have with your father or father figures, but it also tends to have to do with authority figures, structures within things where there are hierarchies, and that there's potentially the need for a bit of healing or new understanding that's coming around that. It does feel like there's a system that you're perhaps pulling back from or pulling away from or wanting to shift your position in, and that's actually more where this card is coming up. I want to pull one more because that didn't really feel like it answered work and career. So the other card that we have here, whoops, is this one. We have the treasure chest card. An unforeseen windfall of new abundance comes to you now. Abundance for me can not only be in terms of like material wealth and possession, which is what this card is visually indicating, but abundance can also be abundance in love and opportunity and time. So the feeling to me is that there is going to be a lot of opportunity for change, for growth, for advancement, for move, for experiencing and feeling new things as we start to move into the middle of this year. Janice, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Thanks for popping on this evening. Let me see. Elizabeth saying, happy Friday, happy Friday. Trying to stay upbeat, but it's hard. You know what? It absolutely is. This week has been really challenging. There've been a lot of ups and downs. And one of the things that I found personally is the more that I try to stick to my usual energy levels, the usual things that I do, the more challenging it's been. And so one of the things I've done is I've tried to make allowances for myself where I can, rather than overbooking myself with different things. I've been creating lots of boundaries and saying, hey, I need a bit of time. If it's feeling like it's hard to stay upbeat, give yourself a little bit of a break, be compassionate and give yourself some love. But yeah, no, you're not alone in that. All right. All right, we've got Tammy here. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for joining me. Tammy's saying her questions would be, any thoughts on my new online courses? Feeling the desire to create. My second course to offer in a few months. Will it be well received? Okay, Tammy, let's take a look and see what we have for you. Yes. So when you're talking about being in, having a need to create, I completely agree, and feel like this is actually one of the ideal times for that. It feels like this is a place where you can, again, like as we were just talking about with Elizabeth, create a bit of space for yourself, so that you're able to immerse yourself in the creative process, and to see what you're able to come up with. When I ask about the success of the course, actually, you're mentioning the second course. I'm seeing 2, 3, and 4 coming out of the one that you're creating now. So what I would encourage you to do is give yourself a little bit of additional space. If you were, say, wanting, I'm just pulling time frames out here. This might not exactly line up with what you're thinking, but if you were saying, hey, I want to take February and I want to launch something mid-March, what I would actually say is take February and part of March and create 2, 3, and 4, and do your launch kind of a little bit later, and having the next ones lined up, because it feels to me that part of the content that you are creating can actually be either split into 3 different components, or that there is so much that's coming in that it doesn't make sense to have it all in one. So I'm seeing 2, 3, and 4 coming up. It feels like they will be well received. I don't know. It feels like possibly you might be offering them in a group package, so people can order them a la carte, maybe for $100 each. Again, just throwing numbers out there. But if they decide to do all 3, then it would be only $250 instead of what would have been $300. So it does feel like this is a wonderful time to be creating. It feels like it's important to create the time and space to do that, but also to section into different offerings, because it feels like there's a lot that you have to offer that builds in together, but also each one is their own standalone course too. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Tammy need to know about the courses and the creation she's going through right now? Interesting. We have the soulmate relationship card. New romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. It's always interesting to me when the soulmate relationship card comes up, particularly if we're not talking about romance and relationship. For me, soulmate relationship can also have to do with the relationship and connection that we have with ourselves, with higher self, with God, source, and universe. And to me, talking about being in a place of creation, the energy between self and higher self is really big. It's really strong right now, and is a big part of what it feels like you're channeling and connecting with. So I see this as being confirmation of what you're wanting to offer. In addition, if relationship and partnership is something that you're in right now, or you're wanting to invite in, make sure that in that creation process that you're also creating the time and the space to be connecting, either with an existing partner, or to make room and space for a new partner, if that's what you're looking for. Tammy, it was a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, we've got Pamela here. Hi, Pamela. Thanks for joining me. Pamela is saying there is a song that is very special to myself and someone who I haven't talked to in quite a while. I hadn't heard it for a long time, and then a couple weeks ago, heard it twice in 1 week. Is that some kind of message for me? Absolutely. First of all, that's a form of clairaudience. If you were sitting down with your playlist and you went through and you specifically chose to listen to that song, then I would say, maybe not so much. But if it came on really randomly in a way that you didn't have anything to do with it, that's absolutely an example of clairaudience, and usually means that the other person who's connected to that song has been thinking about you. You've been on their mind, and that's one of the ways that that energetically things pop in, pop through. I'm kind of flip-flopping as to whether or not this person is going to be reaching out, but it does feel like you are still in their thoughts, and I'm feeling in prayers as well. It feels like there's a lot on this person's plate, and just to be aware that you are still in their thoughts. We're going to go to messages from your angels, and that feels appropriate because this is a message from angels in a sense. And we're just going to ask, what does Pamela need to know right now? We're going to keep it really open. Um, in part because the cards have had kind of a mind of their own this evening. So for you, Pamela, we have the Maya card coming up, and her message is schooling, study, and education help your life's purpose and personal growth at the time. Pardon me, at this time, the angels will guide you and help you with this process. So when this card comes up, it's really asking you to make sure you're putting energy, time, and resources into learning, expanding your awareness, your ideas. Education can come in the form of formal courses and classes, but it can also talk about pursuing something out of curiosity, and even be something that is as simple as taking time to meditate and see what messages are coming up for you, connecting with your angels, connecting with God, source, universe, whatever your belief system is, that there is an opportunity for learning in your life right now, and to make sure that you're taking advantage of that. Pamela, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm so glad you popped on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, let me just take a look here. I'm just going to quickly pop down because we had asked, I was just looking for Chantelle's card, and then I'm going to pop back up. So Chantelle is asking about her spiritual development and next step in it. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have coming up. So it feels to me that you're in a place right now where you are stretching, and it feels like there's still more that you're able to learn, to delve into with what you already what you're already doing, what you already know, what you're already aware of. It's like a new layer of awareness, of understanding. So I'm actually seeing going deeper into something that you already have a knowledge base and awareness of, and it feels like you're expanding into that space. So when I talk about stretching, basically what I'm seeing is doing a stretch in a large muscle group like the hamstrings that tends to be fairly tight. And what I'm seeing you doing is you're going into the stretch, which is where you are right now. You're pulling back, you're taking a deep breath, and then you're going into the stretch even further. And so that's what I mean when I say I'm seeing you expanding more deeply into the connection that you already have. When I ask, I've got a lot of angelic work that's coming up around you that feels like that's part of what you're moving into. It feels like in part there is less reaching that is happening now, and more flow, more it's just there and it's coming in. So it feels like this is coming through in a very relaxed place and space. And it also feels like, oh, I've got something sitting here. What is it? It feels like this is taking you into kind of another realm of things. I noticed that the messages are coming through for you not so speedily, but more kind of calmly, kind of like pouring molasses. It's slow, but it's consistent. It's feeling really loving and supportive, but it's slowed down, and it feels like that's part of what you're stretching into, and it honestly is feeling incredibly delicious. I think I saw that you were asking for a card from the blue deck, so I'm going to pull a card from the blue deck for you, but I'm also really feeling drawn to the Archangel Oracle card deck because angels are coming up so strongly for you. This card here on the top was jumping out. Interesting. So we have again the soulmate relationship card. So same message for you as what was coming up for Tammy. Here it says new romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. But what I'm actually seeing is that this is an increasing connection between yourself and higher self, between yourself, God, source, and universe. So I'm seeing this as confirmation of what you've been asking about. Universe is saying, yeah, we're aware that this is what you're wanting to do, that you're wanting to connect more deeply on a bigger level, and we recognize that and we honor that. So I do see that happening? Let me see. And then Archangel Raphael comes through with the breathe message. So specifically, he says, take several deep breaths and exhale slowly to awaken your energy and to release old patterns. And I'm just seeing a sparkle in his eye that I've never quite seen before. So I want to say that there's actually a lot of magic in it. I don't think that I'd be able to hold it up and you'd be able to see it, but there's a lot of magic here. Archangel Raphael is the angel who works with healers and healers on all levels. And so I wouldn't be surprised if part of what you're doing is you're deepening the healing aspect of the work and spirit in terms of spiritual development. And it feels like there's a lot that's happening more on a personal level as opposed to what you're sharing at this moment. So truly, it feels like it's a deepening of what already exists. Chantelle, it was such a pleasure connecting with you. I'm so grateful that you came on this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, let me just see here. I'm just popping back to, I think Namrata was where we were. Here we go. We've got Namrata here. Hi, Namrata. Thank you so much for joining me. She's asking, I would love to know how my new small business will shape up. That is so exciting. Congratulations. Okay, so when I ask about relationship and pardon me, not relationship, new business and what's happening for you with that, it feels to me like you've hit a couple of uh, not speed bumps, it's like rumble strips. So the rumble strips, we have them here in Canada. Instead of having a big speed bump, it'll be just like a couple of little like rumble things. When you run over them, it just like that. And so that's what it feels like. So it hasn't been completely smooth. There have been a couple of little blips, but they've been things that you've been able to overcome. It feels to me like you're able to continue with the growth that you're seeing as we move into the end of April and into the middle of May. I'm seeing an influx of money into your business. So either this is coming through in terms of like work being realized, clients coming together. There's something where money is coming in. This can also be as a result of grant or some other money that you've been waiting on or waiting for. If there are any grant opportunities with where you are right now, I'd encourage you to apply for them, particularly if they're coming up either where they'll be paid out at the end of March, beginning of April, or if the application is available at that time, because it feels to me like there will be some money that's coming in that's really giving your business a boost. But I am seeing continued growth with it, and I'm seeing lots of support coming up too. So keep at it, keep with it. It feels like it's really positive. We're just going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and I'm just going to ask what messages are coming up for you. And we have the morning affirmations card. So when this card comes up, specifically the messages say positive affirmations each morning to open the gates of manifestation. So the card overall is saying, hey, you are in a place of manifestation, which is awesome. Make sure that you're paying attention to your thoughts as you're moving through this process, because you're able to either think yourself up into a positive place or think yourself down into a place that isn't positive. So making sure that you're focusing on what you want rather than what you don't want. And I am seeing some energy work and some manifestation work that you're doing too. This feels like it's something that you're already doing, but what I want to say is that it feels like it's working for you. It's coming together. So keep up the good work. And Namrata, it was such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and lots of energy and encouragement for your new business and new career. That's so exciting. So I noticed on my way down and on my way back up, we've had some people popping on who have been offering readings if you inbox. So again, just a little reminder, these people I don't have anything to do with them. So, you know, connect with them at your own risk. And Leslie's and hi to Amy. It's so good to see you. And then I've got Leslie here. She says, "Hi, Erin. Just wanted to let you know that you were spot on. You were right. My brother wasn't ready to go the last few weeks. Oh, but this morning he was ready and did pass swiftly. Hope he's made it safely to the other side. So Leslie, first of all, I'm so sorry for your brother's passing. But what I am getting is that he does feel like he has crossed over. He's still building up his energy on the other side. So I, I'm not really able to connect with him, but it does feel like he has made it to the other side, and he's taking some time to recharge. I am seeing him connecting and leaving little things. He's showing me a lot with crows or ravens, something like that. It's like a big black bird. So don't be surprised if you start to see a lot of those where maybe you haven't in the past, or possibly their feathers as well, that they've dropped around you and that you notice them. But I do feel him being on the other side, and I do feel him being at peace. He's showing me that there isn't pain in his body anymore, and it feels like he's been able to release so much. So yeah, big hugs, lots of love and support to you, your family and loved ones, and all who loved your brother as well. I'm so grateful that you popped on and let us know, Leslie. Thank you. Victoria's saying hi. It's good to see you. Hi, Victoria. Let me see. Hellos from Maxine. Let me see. And Ami's just wondering, she said, I just saw a notification that you're live. Is this a reading? It kind of is. If you have a question you want to ask, be specific. And I'm making my way down through. And hi to Gypsy. Hi, it's so good to see you. Let me see. Jessica, if you want to ask a specific question, I'd love to connect with you. Let me see. Okay, so here we go. We've got Amy here. Hi, Amy. So she's asking, will I secure a practicum for September 2021? And which organization should I be reaching out to? Okay, so let's take a look and see what we have. So when I ask about practicum, I'm getting a big check mark yes. So that's feeling really positive. In terms of organizations to reach out to, I'm seeing more the demographic that you're dealing with as opposed to specific organizations. It feels to me like you're working actually with a couple of demographics. I do have older youth coming through that you're working with. So I would call these like 14 to 18-year-olds. I've got a segment there. But the majority of the work I'm seeing you doing feels like it's adult related, possibly family related, possibly working with families and youth, coming up with different solutions. It feels like we might be working on how do these two work together when there are challenges. So I'm kind of wanting to encourage you to take a look at family kinds of organizations and options. I do get, as I said, a big check mark for 2021, September rather of 2021. And I'm seeing you having the resources that you need in order to pursue that practicum as well. So it feels like things are full steam ahead, which is so exciting. Congratulations. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what does Amy need to know about her practicum? Let me see. Here we are. Healthy lifestyle. So we've got Archangel Raphael coming up here. As we talked about just a moment ago, Archangel Raphael helps us and supports us with our health and well-being. He says, eat a healthful diet, get adequate sleep, and exercise regularly for optimal health. So to me, with this message coming up, it really means that it's important to make sure that you're getting back to basics. So doing the things that you know that you need to do to support your body physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so that you have the resources you need to do the practicum. It feels like you will be able to do and to complete your practicum. It feels like it goes really well, but to make sure that you're in a place of balance as well. Archangel Raphael is helping you and supporting you with coming into your best health and well-being. So if you're starting to feel little nudges to make changes in life, know that that's Archangel Raphael, and that he won't encourage or support anything that you aren't able to tackle and take on. So do reach out, ask for help and support, not only from him, but from healthcare practitioners as well. Tammy, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for popping on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, support, and celebration your way too. All right, let me just see here. We've got Alyssa here. Hi, Alyssa. Thanks for joining us. And it looks like Alyssa's joining us through YouTube, so that's super cool. Thank you. Let me see. Alyssa's saying, I tried to catch you last time, but you had so many people. Yeah, it tends to pile on pretty quickly. I would like to know what you see ultimately happening for Jordan and I. Any contact soon, and thank you so much. Okay, let's take a look and see what we've got going on. So it feels like there's a bit of space that is happening between the two of you. This feels like this is both geographic space, but also possibly space in terms of like relationship connection, communication. When I tap into Jordan, the sense that I have is that they are working on something. I'm seeing kind of having blinders on. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of boundary that's been established between the two of you right now. It does feel like the communication is going to be coming back around, but it's not something that I'm seeing you pushing and forcing. It feels like it's really important to make sure that Jordan's the one who is reaching out, because it feels like they aren't in a place at the moment where they are ready, willing, or able to be connecting and communicating right now. So respecting that boundary feels like that's important, and is part of what allows you to move forward, for the both of you in the future. As I said, March, April is feeling like it's really significant. So make sure that you are, during that time, focusing on what you need to support yourself to be in a place where you're healthy and well and vibrant, because that helps to bring relationship into a positive place too. Let's take a look. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck and just see what messages are coming up for you, and relationship with Jordan. So we're asking, what does Ashley, need to know about relationship with Jordan? We did have one pop out, but I'm pulling another one too. So our jumper is the Clairsentience card. This is Archangel Raguel, and his message is, notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. So a clairsentience means literally clear feeling, and it is one of the four primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information. And clairsentience manifests itself both through experiencing physical sensation in the body. So, for example, sometimes people will get goosebumps when something really resonates for them, or like gut instinct, or like it feeling like the pit of your stomach is falling out. Those are all physical examples of clairsentience. Also, we experience clairsentience in terms of feeling emotion. So sometimes we'll pick up on the energy and the emotion of the people around us, and other things along those lines. So what this card is saying is really make sure that you are, without as much ego as possible, paying attention to the energy and the emotion that's coming up for you. This may be a time when you're feeling more sensitive than you usually do. So things that might not usually bother you. For example, maybe it doesn't usually bother you to watch the news, but recently watching the news has just, it's really made you feel really off, or your heartstrings are pulled, or you feel just really terrible after watching the news. Then that can be an example of clairsentience increasing and expanding for you. The other card that we have here, now this is really interesting. It's the career transition card, but it's also an Archangel Chamuel card. So Archangel Chamuel says here, your life purpose is triggering a blessed career change. So we could be seeing a bit of shift and change that's happening in your working career. That certainly is something that's possible. Certainly, that feels like that can also be playing into the physical distance that I'm seeing between you and Jordan, where there could be opportunities around work that help to shift and change that. But what really strikes me is that Archangel Chamuel is also the angel who helps us and supports us with our soulmate relationships and partnerships. So the fact that Archangel Chamuel has come up in this way says to me that there is something more that's happening behind the scenes within your relationship and connection with Jordan. And honestly, this could be going in one of two directions. One, pulling the two of you closer together, saying, hey, we need a bit of time to sort things out, to work things through, and to decide what we really want as people. And either that's going to bring us together, or it's going to make us realize that the purpose has already been served in our partnership and our relationship, and it's time for us to move in different directions. So the time that we have in this pause space is really significant for both of you, because it feels like it's really helping to build and to come into place of healing and support within your relationships with yourselves. And it's going to help make choices and decisions around what's happening with your relationship between the two of you clearer and easier as we move forward. And again, as I said, end of March into the middle of April is feeling like a really significant time for things to come to a head within your relationship, and it'll be really clear about the direction that the two of you are taking. Ashley, I'm so grateful for your patience and that you popped on again this evening. It was a pleasure connecting with you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to Jordan as well. May you both find lots of happiness. We have come to the end of this week's belated Tune In and Tune Up Thursday, the Tune In and Tune Up Friday. I'd like to thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to connect with you in this way, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunity. If you would like to connect for a personal reading, I would love to connect with you. Just pop over to my scheduling website. It's bookingwitherin.com. And just remember that that's the only way that not only you can schedule readings with me, but that I also don't offer free readings, and I don't ask people to add me as a friend, and I don't ask people to inbox me either for readings. So please do be aware of that. I did notice that we had a lot of people popping on this evening, sending messages. If you've received any, I am so sorry. And we'll work hopefully in the future for that not to happen anymore. I hope that you have a fabulous evening, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you back here on Thursday. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.